Hello, brothers and sisters. I'm Brother Jim, and this is the Warrior of God channel. I wanted to make a video for you. I wanted to touch on some of the topics that are really on my mind right now. We haven't had a heart talk for a while now, and that's mostly because YouTube keeps striking my channel so I can't post. So I want to talk about what's going on with the vaccine. Now, this thing is very quickly getting to the point where everyone that wants the vaccine and everyone that's willing to take the vaccine are getting them and will soon have taken them. In other words, they're going to run out of the people that are willing to take it, and the only people that's going to be left are the ones like us that are refusing to take it, that know the truth about it, that it's a death shot. That's all it is. It doesn't cure anything. If the vaccine, and it's not even a vaccine, it's a medical experiment, and we're the guinea pigs. Or we're not, but the rest of the population is. So, if this so-called vaccine is so vitally important, then why is it that it doesn't give you immunity? Why do you still have to wear masks? Why are they now saying to wear 2 masks? Why are they saying you still have to socially distance? Why do they still have percentage restrictions on restaurants and bars and things like that? They're only at 25 or 50% capacity. If these vaccines work, a vaccine is supposed to give you immunity to getting reinfected and to keep you from infecting other people. And that's what they promised that this thing did. But now they're saying, no, you still have to socially distance. You still have to wear masks. In fact, now you should probably wear 2. None of what they're saying makes any sense. And you cannot question anything that Dr. Jekyll, Dr. Fauci, I call him a rat face, but he's got that long nose and beady little eyes and the big ears. He just looks weaselly in his general appearance, and I see a demon right in his eyes. I really do. He's straight from the pit of hell. And you're not allowed to question anything that comes out of Dr. Fauci's mouth, or else you're anti-science. You're just one of them people that just won't believe the science or the data. Well, me and you both know that they're fabricating all the science and the data that they're putting out there for our consumption. The only reason that we know the truth about it is because of alternative media on the internet, and you have to scramble like anybody's business and search and hunt to find any truth channels now. You can't find them on YouTube anymore. They've done a good job of nailing YouTube down, and Facebook and Twitter. That's why all these alternate platforms are opening up, like Telegram and Parler, and they're getting ready to open one up. I'm hoping that that's where I'm going to get to post this one. It's called Frank.com. And it's a platform that Mike Lindell is putting up. It's supposed to be opening up this coming Monday. I'm making this on the Friday before. Let's see, what is today's date? Today is Friday the 16th. I just was sitting here and I wanted to get the video made. I won't be able to post this on YouTube, so if I can't get a channel set up on Frank, you may never hear this video. But that's the plan anyway. But this whole vaccine thing, they're getting down now, and you're seeing more and more stories about it on the news, if you still watch the news. More and more stories about the resistance. That's us. We're the ones that are vaccine hesitant is their word for what we are. But some of them are already starting to call us the resistance. And that has a negative connotation to it, doesn't it? We're the resistance because we're resisting what Uncle Sam tells us we need to do for our own good and for the good of this country. If you resist getting a vaccine, you want to kill your grandma and your grandpa. And you want your whole community to get sick and die. And they'll be framing it that way here pretty soon. And then coming hand in glove with this so-called vaccine is the vaccine passport that they're rolling out. New York's already doing it on kind of a trial basis to see how it works, I guess, and to get the bugs out of the system. But they've got those rolling out all around the world. Different companies trying to come out with these vaccine passes that let you on airplanes and get on ships and go into restaurants and go into stores that proves you have a vaccine. There's one that's supposed to be the main one as soon as they roll it out and get the bugs out of it, called a common passport, I think is what they're calling it. And that's being put out by the World Economic Forum, which you and me both know anything the World Economic Forum has their gloves on is crooked as the day is long. But they'll start working it around so that the people that got the vaccine and have their vaccine passport, they can get back to somewhat of a normal life and get some of their freedoms back. And the ones of us that don't get a vaccine and don't have a passport are going to be restricted as far as where we can go and what we can do until we get a vaccine and give us a passport. But the sad thing is, even the people that have the passport, that get the vaccine, they're not going to have their freedoms, not all of them, not the way they should. They'll still be telling them to wear masks and socially distance. They'll just have access to different venues, like concerts or ball games, or riding on public transportation, or going in restaurants or bars or things like that. And they'll restrict that for the ones that won't get the vaccine. And that is coming very soon now. They're right at just under 200 million vaccines right now. And I believe I've said in previous videos, I think that they'll hit the wall at about 225 to 250, and I still believe that as far as the people that'll be willing to take it. I think that's about the top out on it, and the other people, the other 100 million or so, is not going to take it. So I think they're going to hit that brick wall here really quick because, like I said, they're right at 200 million now, and they're vaccinating anywhere between 3 and 4 million per day at this point. So that'll slow down some as there's fewer and fewer people that are wanting to get it. Those numbers will slow down. They'll get down. They're only vaccinating 1 million a day instead of 3 to 4. And that's something you can watch for. That's when you know they're getting to the bottom of the barrel of the willing, useful idiots in this country. And the only ones that'll be left will be us that are awake enough to know what's really going on. Even though the politicians and the mainstream media is going to be portraying us to be moron idiots, unfeeling, unneighborly, intolerant, conspiracy theorists that don't know what the heck we're doing, and we have to be forced to do it. And then that's when they're going to start trying to figure out ways to force vaccines, like private corporations and private companies demanding that their employees have to have a vaccine or they can't work there anymore. But you know what? Something just came to my mind, and I hadn't planned on talking about this, but I'm going to. Do you know now that there is a major labor problem in this country, that the companies that were shut down during this lockdowns and things, they cannot find anybody to come back to their jobs, the people that lost their jobs. They're trying to rehire the people that lost their jobs back into the jobs they had, and nobody's going back to work. They're saying, I'm not going back to work. I'm making more money now staying at home because of what Biden did with this $600 or $600 a week unemployment, plus their regular unemployment. Some of them people's making $900 and some a week on unemployment. And apparently this unemployment's going to keep getting re-upped and part of a budget going forward. It looks like they're just going to keep giving the unemployed more money, and that's probably what part of the plan is. It's called that universal basic income or whatever it is they've been planning on trying. Everybody gets a basic income, but that's turned into a major problem now. The companies, the restaurants, especially the service industry, that didn't pay all that much for the jobs. You know, if you was lucky, you made the minimum wage. Them people are refusing to go back to work because they're making 10 times more money sitting at home on their butt drawing unemployment, thanks to the government. So now you've got millions, tens of millions of people that they're still saying they're out of work, that's unemployment. They're not going to work. They don't want to go to work. They're refusing to go to work. They're not applying for work. And these companies that managed to get through the lockdowns, a lot of the restaurants and bars and things, they're going out of business now because they can't find help. Because of the government giving free money to the so-called unemployed. They're not unemployed. They're lazy butts living on the government's dime. As long as the government's going to pay them that kind of money to sit at home, you kind of see their point of view. If you don't have any values or morals to begin with, that's not going to be an issue for you. Now, see, I'm one of the people that would have to go back to work, even if I had to take a pay cut. You know what I'm saying? I would not be able to just keep taking money for sitting at home on my butt when I was able to work. That's just the way I was raised. Of course, they haven't raised people like me since I was young, pretty much. And I'm not trying to slam you younger people. I know that there's good people in every generation. There really is. But I'm just saying, painting with a broad brush, there hadn't been a decent generation come along since the 70s. And that was kind of iffy. So I'm talking about as far as having values and morals and things like that. Because the 60s, even when I was in my early childhood, up to my beginning of my teen years, in the 60s, it was when it really was starting to kick in with the age of free love and sex, drugs, and rock and roll and protests and anti-government protests and Vietnam and hippies and dippies and all of that kind of stuff. That's when society really started going down the tubes, but it wasn't as widespread as it is now. I mean, my Lord. And the young people have no morals or values anymore. They're not taught them. Not by the schools, not by teachers, not by their parents, not in the churches. So to them, it makes perfect sense. If you get money for doing nothing, do nothing and take the money and keep your mouth shut. I couldn't do that. And I'm sure that you all would be of the same mind as I am. But that surprises me. That has become an issue. That now these poor guys that own these establishments are going to have to go bankrupt after they're starting to allow them to open up again because they can't find waiters or waitresses or bartenders, or they're even having trouble the vendors that bring the beer or the food or whatever to the restaurants and bars. the truck drivers and things, they can't even find vendors now. Because the vendors can't hire any truck drivers because nobody wants to work in this country now. So if these immigrants, these illegals that come in here, if they got any kind of skills at all, they're going to take all of them jobs that Americans should be doing and are able to do, but just won't do. This has become a lazy nation, an entitled nation, a nation with its collective handout saying, gimme, 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 and then wondering why we're going in debt by the multiple trillions every couple of months. We've gone from 20 trillion in debt to 30 trillion in debt inside of a year. Did you know that the dollar's purchasing power has been reduced by 20% just in this year alone? Since January 1st, the buying power of our dollar has decreased by 20% in 4 months. Less than 4 months. I don't know if you guys have noticed it. I'm sure you're starting to if you hadn't before this. Groceries are getting ridiculous. I paid $50 and I only had one sack of groceries. That's it, and there's a lot of things you can't find anymore because the supply chains are all broken down. Even Walmart, and Walmart I think is the largest retail outlet in the world that has the most purchasing power and the most contacts on where to get the merchandise. And I order online for the most part for everything now because I don't hardly drive anymore because of my eyesight. So I get everything online. And I'm telling you, Walmart has a lot of merchandise out of stock that I can't even order. They just don't keep it in stock anymore. They can't get it restocked. Now, if Walmart, the biggest retail outlet in the world, cannot get their merchandise to restock, then nobody is getting their merchandise to get restocked. Meat's getting harder to find and more expensive to buy if you do find it. Now they're saying there's going to be a pork shortage pretty quick. And that means pork products like hot dogs or bacon or anything like that, hams, all going to go what used to be the price of a good steak just for some pork chops. I'm not a big red meat eater. I eat hamburger, but that's about it as far as red meat's concerned. And it wouldn't be red meat if it wasn't for red dye number 3. But I've never been all that big on steak or anything like that. Now, I like cube steak a little bit, and I like beef tips with peppers and onions. But just to cook steaks and eat them, I've never been a big steak eater. And it's always been kind of pricey for the price range I've lived my life in. But I've always loved pork as my number 1 favorite and chicken's my number 2 favorite. Thankfully, those haven't gone up too bad until now, and they say pork's about to, and I imagine chicken won't be far behind. I think they're trying to, well, I know they're shutting down a lot of the meat processing plants are shut down now. And our trading routes from overseas, all the overseas shipping seems to be grinding to a halt. I'm not sure what the reasons for that is, unless it's politics somewhere down the road. I imagine a big part of it is because China's really acting out right now, and it could be that they're part of the problem, that they're not exporting as much as they were to us as a weapon against us or something. I don't really know. Well, I got kind of sidetracked off the vaccine part of it, didn't I? But I think I covered about what I wanted to on that. Just trying to let you know that in the near future, they're going to be coming for us that are in the resistance in one way or another. Start trying to make it so hard for us to live that will have to take it. But don't be afraid. Number one, I want to re-emphasize this because people are so messed up in their theology, and they're scaring a lot of brothers and sisters. I guarantee you, according to the scriptures, and you can find this for yourself if you'll take the time to do it, this vaccine, or what they're calling a vaccine, is not the mark of the beast. It will not condemn you to hell. It'll make you sick, I'm sure, and it's got crap in it you don't want in you, and I'm not taking it just for that reason, because it's poison. But it's not the mark of the beast. Don't even think about that, okay? And number two, in oh Lord, I'll put the reference to it up when in the post-production part of the video. I think it's in Mark or Luke 1, where the verse is that talks about they will handle serpents and not be harmed. They will drink poison and it will not hurt them. I take that verse literally, and what that verse says to me is, even though it doesn't say a vaccine or something like that, this vaccine is poison. And so God is going to protect any of my brothers and sisters out there that have taken this shot, either out of ignorance or out of fear. God is not going to turn his back on you because you were fooled into or scared into taking this vaccine. And I'm convinced that verse that I just told you covers us. It doesn't cover the general public, but those of us that are his children. We shall drink poison and it shall not harm us. Okay? Even if you took that shot and the Lord tarries for a few months yet, which he may, I don't foresee him waiting very much longer at all. I look for him any day, to be honest with you. But I know it's going to be soon. But in the meantime, if you did get scared into taking the shot, or you took it before you knew all the stuff that was in it, God's not going to turn his back on you. In fact, he's going to continue to protect you in spite of the fact that you took that shot, because he loves you and because he promised he would take care of his own children. So don't worry about that part of it. I personally think that we're going to be out of here before they get really serious about trying to enforce that shot on people. I mean, by force, when they realize that we're willing to put up with not going to ball games and things like that, as long as we can live and have food to eat, pay our bills and things like that, that they can take all the fluff of society away and we'll still resist. When they figure that out and they start trying to make us by force, like door to door kind of crap, we'll be gone. We won't be here for that. So don't worry about that. And I think that's about all I wanted to say on these phony vaccines that are supposed to be the answer to this pandemic. Oh. I want you guys to be watching Israel and Iran very closely right now, because Iran, see, it's been sometime in the last week, Israel did an airstrike or some kind of explosive sabotage at a nuclear facility in Iran, the Natanz nuclear facility. It's an underground facility, so I don't know what kind of deal it was, but they blew up this, I think it was a power station, the power station that supplied the electricity for one of their underground centrifuge farms. And so now, today, Iran said they're going to start enriching their uranium to 60%. That is I know it sounds like it's still 40% away, but I don't know how it works. But in this enrichment process, it enriches exponentially. So that last 40% is real quick. I don't know how else to say that, but it wouldn't take nothing. In other words, it's not like you're starting at 20% or something like that. If you're at 60%, it's next to nothing to get it up to fully enriched and weapons grade is what the deal is. So they said they just started today. They said they're enriching their uranium stockpile to 60%. And if Israel was willing to do that strike on that Natanz facility a few days back, when they find out that Iran is starting to enrich to 60%, I think that's going to be a red line for Israel. I think Israel is going to have to go ahead and go in there and strike their nuclear program and just take it out. And if they do that, which I really think they're probably going to here sooner than later, that's going to start a bunch of crap, because remember, Iran just signed a 25-year treaty with China. And part of that treaty is a military agreement that China will help Iran in case of the military attacks and things. So that would bring China into the Iran-Israel deal. And according to scripture, the United States does not come to Israel's rescue. It doesn't say why, but the United States is out of the way. We don't play a part in trying to help Israel. So that's just going to get the whole thing, I think, over there, Gog and Magog, all of it, I think, is getting ready to just really kick off. The Damascus prophecy of Isaiah 17:1, the ruin of Damascus, where it becomes a ruinous heap in one night. And I think all of it is just really getting so close to hitting the fan right now. And that's not even mentioning what's going on with Russia and the Ukraine. Russia now has 25% of its entire military on the Ukrainian border. And it's starting to place them on the border up along the former Soviet states. I can't even remember what they are now. Poland, I think, was one. Latvia, I think, might be one. Bosnia. The former Soviet states that gained their independence when the USSR broke up back in the early 90s. They're starting to spread out their military up on up into the European, the Russian-European border, on up into some of the other states. And that's making an awful lot of people nervous over there. NATO is on high alert. All the NATO states are on high alert. France is on a nuclear alert. I think the UK is on a nuclear alert. We're on a high alert. Our military is. There's a lot of movement going on. Russia's moving its assets all over the place. They're blocking off different bodies of water and moving their ships around from one place to another. They're reinforcing what they had in Crimea on that part of the border of the Ukraine. And they're just really ramping things up. They've already set up field hospitals in Russia. So they're planning on some kind of a major conflict happening. And it just may be, brothers and sisters, that with this fool we have in the White House right now, that China and Russia decide, and maybe even Iran, all decide to attack the United States at one time. And that could easily go nuclear if they've got it timed out and gamed out that they think they can get a first strike in and disable us to the point where we can't retaliate. Who knows what's in their minds? Now, I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just trying to tell you what kind of times we are living in. These things I'm telling you, these are going on right now, even as I'm making this video. In fact, some of this stuff may have happened over the weekend before I find out if I can even post it over on Frank.com or not. So I don't really know what to say, but that's the shape the world is in right now. Anything could explode at any given time. The United States economy's on the downslide. I told you about the dollar losing its value. They're fixing to go digital. All digital. Will be going cashless sometime this year. They'll have bank holidays. ATMs won't work. I don't know what to tell you, brothers and sisters, except get ready when, like the Bible says, when these things begin to happen, then look up and lift up your head, because your redemption is drawing nigh. We may see a little bit yet, but God has us in the palm of His hand. Read Psalm 91. I'm always telling you guys that, but it's good advice. It really, really is. Read the 91st Psalm anytime you need some encouragement, which for me and for most of us is just pert near every day now. Well, guys, that's what's been on my heart. I know I am so sick and tired of being in this world. I don't want nothing from this world anymore. I don't want a stinking thing. I just want to be left alone until Jesus calls my name, and then I'm gone. All right. Well, it's been good talking to you guys again. I'm sorry that things have been so rough with us being able to talk to each other over the last month or month and a half. But hopefully, if this works out with Frank TV, or not Frank TV, Frank.com, we can get back to semi-normal where I can put out, if nothing else, I can put out Heart Talks, and I can put up videos that I want you to see that won't get me strikes. So if I can get that kind of a platform, if it works like that, like I'm hoping it will, then maybe we can get this channel going like it should be again. All right, brothers and sisters, it's good to talk to you again. I'll be around as long as the Lord allows it, and we're going home soon. We got a picnic to attend when we get there. Okay, brothers and sisters, God bless you all. I love you all. And I will be seeing you all very, very soon now on that golden shore over yonder. God bless you.